it's Jen from Winrose Fiber Studio. Today, let's crochet the ripple stitch. To make my sample, I'm using a medium weight yarn and a 5mm crochet hook. To crochet the ripple stitch, you'll start with a chain that is a multiple of 2 plus 1 plus an additional 2. For my sample today, I'm chaining 15. I have my beginning chain and I'll be working row 1 into these back bumps. For row 1, you'll work a double crochet in the 4th chain from your hook and in each chain across. To work a double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 twice. An alternative way to begin this project is to start with an odd number of foundation double crochets. The 3 chains that we skipped at the beginning of row 1 will count as our first double crochet, so we have 13 double crochets in all. On to row 2. For row 2, you will chain 1 and turn. That chain 1 will count as your first single crochet. Skip the very first stitch and then single crochet in each stitch across. To work a single crochet, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. The last single crochet of this row will be worked into the turning chain. Now it's time to start creating some ripples. For row 3, you'll chain 3. This counts as your first double crochet. Turn your work. We're going to skip this very first stitch and we're going to work a front post treble around the double crochet below the next stitch. To work a front post treble, yarn over twice, go from front to back around the post of that double crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 3 times. Then you're going to work a double crochet in the next stitch. So if you follow that next double crochet up, the single crochet attached to that is where your next double crochet will go. You can also think of this as skipping a stitch and double crocheting in the next stitch. So you're not working a double crochet in the stitch behind that treble. You're working a double crochet in the next stitch. Our next treble goes around the double crochet below the next stitch, and then we double crochet in the stitch after that. Treble crochet in the double crochet, or I should say around the double crochet that's below the next stitch, and then double crochet in the stitch after that. We're coming to the end of the row. We're going to work one more front post treble, And then our last double crochet will actually be worked into the turning chain. This can be a little hard to find because it's just a chain one turning chain, but that's where your last double crochet goes. You can see all of the texture created by working those front post trebles. Row 4, you'll chain 1. Row 4 is basically just a repeat of row 2. You skip the first stitch and then you single crochet across. The first chain 1 will always count as the first single crochet, and the last single crochet will be worked into the turning chain. For row 5, you're going to chain 3 and turn. That counts as our first double crochet. You're going to skip the first stitch and then you're going to work a double crochet into the next stitch. Now your front post treble will go around the double crochet below the next stitch. It's basically right between those two ripple stitches from row 3. And then you double crochet into the next stitch, right above that ripple stitch. Yarn over twice and work a front post treble around the post of the double crochet between those two ripple stitches. And then double crochet in the next stitch. We've got one more front post treble, and then there are 2 stitches remaining. We're going to work a double crochet in each of these last 2 stitches. The very last one will be the turning chain. And that's all there is to it. You have these overlapping front post treble crochets that create a ripple effect in the fabric. There's so much texture. It looks so pretty made up in a self-striping or variegated yarn like the one we have. To carry on with the stitch pattern, you'll repeat rows 2 through 5 respectively, or in that order. I personally believe you're much more likely to use a stitch the easier it is to create. So we've just done it by the book. I'm going to show you an alternative way to make this that I think is even easier. So we're going back to row 2. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to single crochet in that first stitch and in each stitch across. When we get to the last stitch, we're not going to go into that turning chain, we're going to go through it, or we're just going to work that last single crochet around the turning chain. Then we'll chain 3 and turn. This gets us to row 3. That chain 3 still counts as our first double crochet. We're going to skip the first stitch, work our front post treble around the double crochet below the next stitch, and then we'll double crochet in the stitch after that. And we're going to follow this repeating pattern all the way across, front post treble around the double crochet below the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch. The difference here is that when you reach the end of row 3, instead of having to work that last double crochet into the turning chain, you'll be working that last double crochet into a single crochet, into a stitch, and it's just so much easier to work that stitch. For row 4, you repeat row 2, you chain 1 turn, single crochet in that first stitch and in each stitch across, working that last single crochet around the turning chain. Here we are back at row 5. You can see this is moving along really quick and easy. You'll chain 3 and turn. That chain 3 counts as your first double crochet. You skip your first stitch and then you double crochet in the next stitch. The front post treble crochet goes around the double crochet below the next stitch, and then we're back to the top of our repeating pattern. You'll double crochet in the next stitch, front post treble around the double crochet below the next stitch. Repeat this across until you come to your last 2 stitches. You'll be double crocheting in each of these last 2 stitches, and it's just a lot easier when you're not having to work into that chain 1, into that turning chain. So this is just a little tweak of the pattern that makes it move along a lot faster. The edges basically look the same, but there's just no fiddling with working into those turning chains. So I just wanted to share that with you as an alternate approach to working the ripple stitch. You may certainly choose whichever method is more comfortable to you. Here's a larger sample size that I made. You can really start to see the pattern forming with this variegated yarn. I think it's so pretty to add some color to all of this wonderful texture. This is a new stitch for me, and I'm really excited to add it to my stitch library. I can see so many possible uses for this wonderful little stitch. Thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please hit like and subscribe. I post crochet pattern videos on Tuesdays and often stitch tutorials on Saturdays. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.